Upload, download and delete files on your Pico W straight from a browser. Here's the finished file manager, but let's build it using Mongoose. We've got two problems here in one video. First, an easy way to create a virtual file system in Flash using the Pico VFS library. Then 3 Mongoose API endpoints that give us a full web file manager experience: upload, download and delete. Let's start with the file system. In this video, we're focusing on some more amazing features of the Mongoose library. And of course, Mongoose is known as an embedded web server with a web UI designer and the support of web services to be able to build our applications. And we're basically going to use all of that in this video. But before we get into the web bit, the other thing we are going to need, of course, is a file system. Now, quite a while ago, I looked at file systems on SD cards and on USB drives as well. And the approach I'm going to use in this video is a little bit different and I feel a little bit easier. And I think I actually need to revise both of those. So I want to use this library, the Pico VFS by Oyama. And this is a great little library that allows us to create file systems in Flash or indeed on SD cards. The library itself gives us the ability to have a modular approach to building up this capability right up to the level of a POSIX UI. So all of the POSIX functions that I'm just used to working on Unix systems, suddenly I have available to me to access and manage files, even though they're actually held on the Flash on my Pico. This is really cool. And it's a really easy library to set up with some nice examples here. And by default, out of the box, it will give us a 1.4 megabytes file system held in Flash, which is absolutely fine for my experiments in this video. As always, everything I'm going to do here, I'm going to share on my repo. So I've added our library here, the new Pico VFS library, to my repo. And that's what we're going to use to just do a little test to make sure that we can work with these virtual file systems. So my example here is under examples in Pico VFS example, strangely. And all I'm going to do in here is just pull in this Pico VFS subdirectory there, and add that as a subdirectory, and that should get everything going. Now, when you add a subdirectory that's not actually under your project, you have to actually give it a binary directory in CMake. So that's why there's 2 parameters to add subdirectory here, which you may not always see. And then I've got a second include file that I need to include as well, which is again from the Pico VFS path to where the library is installed, and that's the Pico VFS CMake. And that basically gives me access to a little macro that I'm put into here, which is this macro here, which says Pico enable file system, and that does all of the magic of adding the right libraries in so that we can actually compile and get everything working, and does any of the other definition stuff required to get Pico VFS to work. Now I've got a few pieces in here, but actually if you notice, the only binary or only C file I'm actually using is main.c. So you can safely ignore my other examples where I was playing around with things. This one took me a little while to get running. And the reason it took me a little while to get running, and I pulled a lot of hair out, is I copied the example off of the README file from Pico VFS's repo, and it doesn't include absolute path names. So in its example, it doesn't have that nice / there, which meant that nothing worked. And I pulled my hair out for ages trying to work out what exactly was going on, only to find eventually that, yeah, it's a single character I was missing. So what we're going to do in this is we are going to include VFS, and we are basically going to open a file called hello.txt, We're going to write some text into it and we're going to close it. And then we're going to open it for read mode, and we're basically going to then read the text from it, and then we're going to print out what text we read. So nice, easy, just check, is our file system working? Can we read from it, and can we write to it, and then can we read stuff back from it? And this is going to use the default file system, which is set up by me calling fs init, which is going to be a file system that is in flash memory on the Pico 2, and it's going to be 1.4 meg in size. So running that will just do exactly as we expect and get back a message of the text that we wrote to that file. Now, of course, I'm going to share everything I'm going to show you today on my repo over on GitHub. And it's in a Mongoose repo that I've done a few examples from. So this example is in the File Manager folder. And it's basically got the normal sort of CMake files, etc. But it's got this gen folder in here, which is, I guess, unusual. And it's that gen folder which is what contains all of the code that the Mongoose UI Builder has generated for us. So when we hit that generator button in the wizard, these are all the files it's generated. And I've put that under a gen folder so I know it's generated, and also so that it can't possibly overwrite any of my other stuff. In order to load up the Mongoose library, I have a mongoose.cmake file here, which just goes and finds all of the relevant source files that we need from that gen mongoose folder. And it's those that we're going to build into our application. So I want to have a look at Mongoose Glue, which is what has been generated when we hit that gen button, and it contains all of the stuff that we need for this files interface, and that's going to populate that list, remember. So we've got the structure here, files, and with the file size and its name, and we've got the two functions get and set. And you notice they basically take a pointer to that file structure, but they also take an index. So you're basically working on an array here, or theoretically concept that there's an array here, and we provide an index to the item that we're trying to either get out or set. So we can set, then that's what I use for the rename capability. So if we have a look here in their example C code, they've got a really noddy little example that they generate for us to help us on that journey, but by basically setting that up as an array with three identical files in it. And then we've got the example get and set functions. Now, of course, we're not going to use those because we're going to actually try and glue this directly to our file system that I've created. And that's then also creates this question of, well, the first time we run this, there's nothing in our file system, so we need a bit of prep work. So I've got a function here that I've written for us, which is using this VFS file system. It's actually creating a folder called temp in it, and it's going to put 5 files into that temp folder called file1.txt, etc. And that's going to be really useful to us because that just means that we've got something there when we start the device up. So let's have a quick look at what do we need to do to connect our file system up to this. So we need the ability to be able to get files and to set files. And you'll notice those are not called glue get and set files. That's because we're overriding that using this line. So this is really key. When we want to override what the glue has given us and write our own versions, we need to call the Mongoose set HTTP handler function with the name of the endpoint, and then what are the new getter and setter functions. So how does the get function work? Well, let's have a quick look at that. But this is really very much standard IO and the POSIX file system management actually, but we'll have a quick look at what this is going to do. Basically, we're going to go and open our target directory. We're going to then loop through all of the entries in that target directory. We'll ignore anything that isn't actually a regular file, because I'm not going to include folders and things like that. I'm just going to look at files. And then when we get to the index we've been asked for, remember we were asked to provide a particular index, so when we go through to that index number of files within the folder, we're going to copy the data out. Now that's great for the name, but then we need to do a little bit more work to be able to copy out the size of the file as well. And to copy out the size of the file, we're going to use a different function. We're going to use the fstat function that's provided to us by POSIX, and that should give us the information about the size of the file, so we can copy that in as well. And that's all we really need to do. Close everything down, be nice and consistent, and make sure that we finally have to return something. We return a boolean of if there is a value at that index location. So that's how the Mongoose UI works out whether we've actually got to the end of our list, because if we return false, that there isn't any more values, then it will actually stop. We've also got here the set function, which is basically what we're using to trigger a rename. And so I'm going to ignore any change that came through to the size of a file, but if I get a new name for it, I want to rename it. To do that, I'm going to need the full path name of both the original name and the new name. So we can create the full path name of the new name that it's to be. That's easy from the parameters we've got in, just using smprintf. And then I'm going to have to go up through the directory again and find what the original name is. And once I've found that, I can just call the rename function, again POSIX level function, to actually rename the file and move that to its new location. So here you can see the files all loaded up, and this is the dashboard being served up from my Pico W. And you can see we got the 5 files that I auto-generated. Of course, they're all identical size because they've all actually got identical amount of text in them. But we've got them there listed, and we are getting that line reproduced for every item in the array. In fact, let's have a quick look at the array here. If I go and pull back the API files, which is actually this file's endpoint, I can actually see the list as it's sent over to me in JSON format. So we've got all of the data from that list over there on JSON. And that's actually what the UI is doing under the hood. But you don't need to worry too much about that, because Mongoose is managing all that bit for us. Now, I did say that we could also use this to rename a file. So let's rename file 3 to files3.old, shall we? And if I hit, you see quite nicely the save button here, which is what's going to actually save that change, has actually been highlighted because I've actually edited that line. And if I hit save now, that has actually happened, and that file has now been nicely renamed to files3.old. So let's talk about delete next then. We've got a delete endpoint here, which is an action. And that will give us some generated code, which is to basically start that delete function, and there's a bit of a check to see if the delete function is completed yet. So those are the 2 functions we're going to have to write. How do they get transferred into this code and stuff? Well, if we have a look at this delete button, generally there's not a lot in here. We basically are just going to connect it to the API variable delete, so that it will call that delete and put a post across for that. We've got the title in there and the icon we want to use for it. And then we need to put a parameter over, because actually I need to know which file I'm being asked to delete. So all I'm going to send across there is actually the name of the file that we're actually deleting. Now in Mongoose, when they do the example, they make this overly complicated because they put that as JSON. And you don't need to. You can just put anything in there. It's just a string that you're passing across. So just put the file name in there. Then that's enough for us actually to delete it. So how does our delete code work? Well, we've got these two functions, check delete and start delete, and I've got my version of them rather than the glue version of them. And we're going to give those functions to Mongoose when we use the command mongoose set http handler for the endpoint delete. So that's how we get those functions called. What are they going to actually do? Well, check delete is going to always return false because the delete is never running because it is an atomic function. As soon as it's called, it's executed. The actual delete function itself, when we're asked in that, what we're going to use is that parameter is going to be the local name of the file. So the first thing I need is the full path name to that file. So there's an smprintf statement to generate that for me. And then I'm basically going to call the POSIX function remove to actually remove that file from my file system. So let's demonstrate that. Let's actually delete the file. And let's delete files 3.old. So what I'm going to do is just go over here and hit the delete button. And there it is, it's gone, and the list has updated, and we've now only got the 4 items in the list. And of course that will persist. Well, it will sort of persist. It certainly will persist, but we've also got that code that runs every time we start up our Pico that auto generates files 1 to 5. So that file will sort of come back, or a new version of it will be generated. A quick thank you to Mongoose for sponsoring this video. And Mongoose is a full TCP/IP network stack with embedded web server, MQTT client, and built-in TLS support. And it even does things like firmware update, as I've shown in a previous video. Mongoose is used by hundreds of companies, big and small, one-person freelancers to multinationals like Bosch, Siemens, Google, and Samsung. NASA even used Mongoose on the International Space Station. And you should use it too. With Mongoose, you can quickly create professional web UI devices with dashboards with zero knowledge of web, as well as connect to cloud services like AWS's IoT or your own private network servers. That's a full file manager in Flash. List, upload, download, delete, with Mongoose UI Builder doing all of the heavy lifting. If you improve the UI and there is room for improvement, drop me a screenshot in the comments. I want to see it. And if it's helped, then there's a super thanks button below the video, and that's the best way to support the channel. I've got a full Mongoose playlist listed here too of other videos. See you in the next one.